Hey guys, welcome to Weekly Word. This is a devotion that is intended to help you better understand the Bible and to know how it applies to your life as young people. Today we're going to be looking at Revelation 21, verses 1 through 4, and I want to talk to you about how God sees your pain and desires to put it to an end. This is what Revelation 21, 1 through 4 says. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. And I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, Behold, the dwelling place of God is with man. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them as their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more, for the former things have passed away. I was reading an article earlier this week, and it talks about a quote from the final book of The Lord of the Rings. So in The Return of the King, I think after all is said and done, Sam, one of the main characters, asks the question, will all that which is sad come untrue? And it's a profound question, right? So the question is, will all that which is sad come untrue? So he's not asking, hey, will good things happen in the future? Right? He's not asking, will good things come for us in the future? Because I could tell you that even in this world, good things are going to come in this future, or good things are going to come in the future, because we live in a world with both funerals and weddings, right? We live in a world where there are times of recession as well as times of economic boom. Similarly, we live in a world where there's times of famine and times of plenty. And we live in a world where there's both sadness and happiness. And so I could tell you, even in this world, that yes, good things are coming. And so that's not really a profound question. But the question, will all that which is sad come untrue? Now that's a profound question. That's a whole different question altogether. And the answer that the Bible gives to that question is a resounding yes. And one of the clearest places where it gives that answer is in our passage. Friends, yes, all that which is sad will come untrue. And that's a wonderful thing for us to hang on to at any point, and I think particularly in these days. I want to offer just two quick thoughts from this passage. Number one is that God sees your pain. God sees your pain. He's not aloof to it. He's not ignorant of it. He's not oblivious to it. He's not indifferent to it. He is very much aware of and cares about your pain. Okay? Let me put it this way. The reason why you and I experience the different kinds of pain that we experience, right? So we can experience pain in a whole host of ways. So for example, you might have someone that you thought was your friend turn their back on you. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, I guess that person's not my friend. And there's emotional pain that comes with that. Or you have like a chronic condition, or you have a illness or a disease, and so you're always met with that kind of face to face. And there's physical pain, obviously, but there's the emotional difficulty that comes with that. For you, those of you guys who are in grade 12 in particular, you're experiencing disappointment and just over the fact that you might not be able to walk at graduation. This is supposed to be your final year. There's fun things that you're supposed to be able to do, but you're not able to do those things now. And similarly, all of us are facing disappointments as a result of this corona thing. And then there's even, more serious things like death. And so for all of us, or I shouldn't say all of us, but probably for a lot of us, we have experienced the death of a loved one, maybe perhaps the death of a great-grandparent or a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle, or perhaps someone even closer than that. And so so we are all aware of pain to varying degrees and at varying times, but pain is a common human experience. And what the Bible teaches is that pain exists in this world because of our rebellion against God. Okay, and so when you put you, in this world who is a rebel against God, and then everybody else, all 6 or however many billion people who are in the world, are also rebels against God, then you have this massive mess, and there's a lot of brokenness, and there's a lot of destruction, and there's a lot of dishonoring of God, and there's a lot of shame and a lot of darkness. But here's the thing, okay? God's really aware of that. God is completely in the know about the brokenness of this world and the pain that we experience as a result of the brokenness of this world. And what God has been doing ever since the very beginning of time is that he has put into action a plan to reverse all of that, to undo all of it, okay? So God is very much concerned about dealing with the brokenness that is in this world. And we know that because that's what he's been doing all along. That's what the Jesus story is all about. It's about how God sends his son into the world in order to identify with a broken world, but then also to go at the end of his life in order to die for the rebellion of the world. And then he's raised from the dead in order to show that God accepted that sacrifice of death on our behalf. And then at the very end of time, Jesus is going to return, and he's going to usher in this glorious, awesome kingdom that is going to be free from all that plagues and distorts and blemishes the world in which we live. Okay? God is very, very aware of your pain, and he's working to undo it all, which brings me to kind of my second point, is that God is very much committed to putting an end to your pain. Okay? Look with me. This is the climax of the Bible. This is the climax of what God is doing. And so this is what God is moving towards as he unfolds his plan of redemption. Okay? At the very end of it, this is what is going to happen for you and for me. Verse 3, it says, "Behold, the dwelling place of God is with man. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them as their God." And so one of the things that's going to happen in this future world is that finally and completely, we are going to be restored into right relationship with God, and we are going to be able to fellowship with God in that world fully, completely, and in an unhindered way. And then in verse 4, it talks about, I guess, just the undoing of the pain that we currently experience. It says in verse 4, "He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain anymore, for the former things have passed away." Friends, there is coming a day when God is going to put all of our pain, all of our tears, all of our suffering, all of our trials, and even the death of this world, he's going to put it completely to an end. God is in the business of undoing the brokenness. God is in the business of making all things new through his son, Jesus, and his death and his resurrection. I do just want to provide a quick caveat to all of this, and while God is doing all of this, and he's put into motion a plan that is going to redeem all things, and that is going to restore all things, and that is going to undo the sadness, it is only those who have believed in his son, Jesus, who are going to be beneficiaries of that plan. Does that make sense? So it's not that, okay, yes, God is doing this. Yes, God is undoing all that which is bad. Yes, God is going to restore all things. He's going to make all things new through his son, Jesus. But it is only those who believe in Jesus that are going to benefit from what he is doing. Okay? So we'll probably talk about that in future episodes of Weekly Word, about the importance of believing in Jesus. But I just want you to know that God sees your pain. And for those who believe in him, he is going to put an end to it one day. He's going to make all that which is sad come untrue. All right, guys, so that's Weekly Word for this week. We are reading through Acts 13 through 24 as for the Bible reading plan this week. So if you're not reading through the Bible on your own, then I would encourage you to join me in that. Acts is about the record of the early church, the earliest church right after Jesus rose and ascended back into heaven. So that is that. And then again, always, if you have comments, suggestions, feedback, as well as any suggestions for future topics or texts, I would love for you to give me those, and they might appear in a future episode of Weekly Word. All right, guys, see you next week.